Sundown towns, let's talk about it. Delaware County, Indiana is 100th on the list. 100, y'all. I'm not even a quarter way through. I hope that when I'm gone, someone or a bunch of someone's picks this work up, because housing segregation is the worst of all the segregations, and it's still going on. It's infrastructure. Anyway, Muncie is the county seat of Delaware, so we're going to focus on that. Check this out. Muncie had two sides, literally. A man-made divider, the railroad tracks, and a natural divider, the White River. The industry and Whiteley neighborhoods on the northeast side of the river became the established community for us in Muncie. Fast forward to see how our community is today from this first-hand account. Check this out.
Straight from Whiteley. I love my hood. I do. I'm walking around at about 7 p.m.-ish on a Friday, drinking my wine, walking down the street. You know what I mean? Feeling overly safe in Whiteley. You know what I mean? Like, I love my hood. Like, I love my city. Like, I love everything about my neighborhood. Stop playing. I mean, the road's a little fucked up, but we here, period. Predominantly black neighborhood, and I'm good. That way, that part.
If you're new here, welcome. My name is Rena, and I break down our history through what I've called the Sundown infrastructure. This was segregation, terror, and violence to control where we had safety after dark. Muncie had all three, and let's learn how they worked together. Our history in Delaware County goes back for generations. Our ancestors had churches and schools and businesses. You know, we had community. It didn't start with the trifecta of segregation, terror, and violence, so let's learn what happened. Before the turn of the century, by 1896, the tension was thick. The newspapers reported a black man being jailed over an interracial marriage. The same year, another paper openly discussed getting rid of our ancestors by shipping them to Cuba. Child, they literally put this stuff in print. It will forever not be wild to me. Then came the jobs. In 1899, people quit because our ancestors were hired. And then in 1901, one of our ancestors made hundreds of white people walk off the job. The boundaries were fragile here. And we're not even to the second or the Great Migration yet. And then terror became physical. It became violence. In 1903, 25 of the so-called best citizens formed a mob. They saw a black man existing, and they chased him, made him jump into the river to try to escape them. Did he survive? We don't know. In 1904, masked, armed men showed up trying to force our families off of the east side of town. Y'all, our people there stood our ground and said, try it if you want to. Threats of a race war was advertised in newspapers all across the country. But the newspaper then reported that no strange Negro better be caught on the streets at night. Cousins, who's a strange Negro? It's almost like the vagueness was the point. You just better not be caught outside after dark. Check this out. By 1907, our ancestors were requesting a separate school. Never heard of this. They saw the infrastructure being built right in front of their eyes. And then here comes the Great Migration. Between 1910 and 1920, Muncie's population grew by about half, but our population more than doubled. And we kept trying to build even inside this locked, segregated boundary. Then the 1920s, the Klan exploded in Indiana. Delaware Klan number 4. The Klan controlled politics, law. They controlled who did what and who had access and who had protection. They controlled the culture of the state.
Population of African Americans grew from 16 to 48, then to 187 in 1880. Throughout this period, jobs would be the main attractant for many migrants, as the Ball Company and other major employers established large industrial institutions, which provided the community with hundreds of low-scale manufacturing jobs. By the late 1880s and the early 1890s, the discovery of natural gas in Muncie would accelerate the growth of both the city's economy and the African American community. By 1890, Muncie's population consisted of over 400 African American residents, establishing the city as a major center for black migration within the state and prompting the development of African American neighborhoods.
The prosperity and large migration of African Americans as a result of the gas boom was met with the emergence of prolific black organizations and communities in Muncie, especially in the east, central, and southern regions of the city. In addition to establishing churches, African Americans organized their own wing in the Republican political party. This served as jurors for the county, enrolled their children in public school system, and faced comparatively less severe discrimination than in other parts of the state and the nation. In 1900, the African American population had nearly doubled in size from its previous census, and by 1910 had exceeded 1,000.
By now, the infrastructure is written directly into the map. Neighborhood after neighborhood restricted our ancestors from buying or renting homes. Rosemont, Burlington Heights, Westwood, Austin Heights, University Heights. Entire subdivisions marked for white people only. One covenant literally said, no Negro, mulatto, Chinese, Japanese, or any other person other than the white race. There was one exception: domestic servants. That's the Sundown infrastructure. So let me back up, because people often misunderstand housing segregation. Poor whites could move into our neighborhoods, but we were systematically locked out of white neighborhoods completely. That's how housing segregation worked. So by the 1940s, racial restricted covenants were all across Delaware County. This was systematically planned, then it was normalized. And even into the late 1960s, the battle over segregated education continued.
Muncie lately is being made up of one way or the other from our school system. Recently, we've had some racial trouble at Southside High School. Does your office ever get into these kind of local problems, racial disturbances?
The only time that we enter into a local district problem is when we have a request by either the school authorities or a legitimate citizen group within the community. And upon their official or formal request, we might then move into a community and make an investigation and evaluation of the situation.
Well, now, there were a group of parents who this weekend got together and said they were going to request the state office to make an investigation. Would you do so if you were requested to do so?
Well, that depends on the group that makes the request and the manner in which they make the request. They might approach in a highly emotional basis. They may not make a written request. It may be a verbal, which we cannot accept. So there are circumstances under which they would have to operate.
Do you have any advice for the local school system in this situation?
No, I don't know enough of the facts to give advice.
Has your office been informed by the local authorities about this situation? Do they usually keep you informed about it?
Regarding Muncie, we have not been informed by the local school authorities as to the incidents on a daily basis, no.
Now, we have a problem here in Muncie that seems to be around the country. The de facto segregation, the NCAA in our area, is objecting to the location of a new Northwest High School. Does your office enter into these type of problems?
Yes, the State Department has complete control over construction of school facilities and the purchase of school sites.
More recently, a white man wearing a makeshift Klan hood tried to intimidate a black female officer. He got time. Check this out.
We're not doing nothing. I just didn't think it would happen to us.
You're taking pictures and stuff?
It's different when it happens to you.
Jayleon Jones and Markel Bond are talking about the chilly reception they got on a recent visit to this Rural King store in Muncie. Among the store's specialty are tools. The teens are interested in tools because they're in a high school construction training program building this house in nearby Yorktown.
In the morning, we go there for construction class.
But on September 21st, the two missed the bus and suddenly had time to kill.
We ate first. We ate at McDonald's, and then next to McDonald's is Rural King, so we knew they had tools and stuff, clothes that we could use for the classes.
I'm in the store almost every week because my dad always goes there.
Because Joan's father, a plumber, buys supplies at Rural King. But almost immediately after entering the store, the teens were shadowed by this Rural King employee.
You took pictures of us. Everywhere we went, the same lady was there. We went to every corner of the store.
She has no reason to follow us, so why is she following us? You know what I'm saying?
Why do you think she was following you?
Probably because we were black.
For an hour plus, they were followed, and finally the teens asked why.
Someplace else hanging out because they're watching that. They're watching everybody.
Is that your normal protocol?
That afternoon, Bond's mother went to the store and was told, unlike other customers, the teens should have explained their visit to store management.
I wish they would have went up front and let somebody know so that they could have told everybody to stop.
But they shouldn't have to, though.
No, they shouldn't.
For them to get treated this type of way is unacceptable.
Yvonne Thompson is the executive director of Muncie's Human Rights Commission, who described the situation this way.
You're the only one talking to them.
What I'm supposed to do.
Failure of the store in training and policy. Rural King has got to realize black people have money too.
But they in okay.
Families of the teens say Rural King's attorney disclosed 3 store employees have been fired. Rural King would not confirm that with us, instead offering a statement. It reads in part, Rural King has a clear policy prohibiting discrimination. Anyone engaging in such conduct would be subject to disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment.
I still recognize the pattern. Segregation created the boundary. Terror made people understand it. Violence enforced it when necessary. And over time, we learned where we could and couldn't safely exist. That's the Sundown infrastructure. Muncie, once upon a time, divided the city and divided the safety after dark. If you've ever heard of a place that people warned you about growing up, drop the name below, because this is my life's work and I'm only at number 100. Until next time, I'll see you in the comments.